There be dragons, and some walking dragons, some dragon spirits, a hydra, and some dice shenanigans. That's what lies within the Commander Precon deck from the Adventures in the Forgotten Realms Magic the Gathering set called Draconic Rage. First of all, a huge thank you to our amazing partners at Unplug Yourself for supplying us with these awesome precons to play with, www.unplugyourself.co.za, and to our WPN premium store Top Deck, store.topdeck.co.za, for sponsoring the budget upgrades for these decks. Led by the new commander, Vrondus, Rage of Ancients, Draconic Rage cares about, you guessed it, dragons. In Gruul colors, red and green, this deck is all about putting really big nasty things onto the battlefield, dealing damage directly to faces of opponents and creatures alike, and simply overrunning the game to the sound of leathery winged terror. Vrondus brings back the enrage mechanic first seen on Ixalan by stating on the card that whenever damage is dealt to them, they create a big dragon spirit token. The downside, of course, is that the dragon spirit sacrifices itself when it, in turn, does damage to anything else. However, with the right set of cards and the correct draws, this addition to the commander's abilities, as well as the effect that whenever you roll one or more dice, Vrondus takes a 1 damage hit, means that creating an army of 5/4 red and green dragon spirit tokens is not outside the realm of possibility. We'll get into how well these two elements are addressed in the deck in a moment, but right now, let's talk about some notable inclusions and some awesome reprints in the deck. Let's get big and flappy with Terror of Mount Velas, a whopping 5/5 flyer with double strike and the enter the battlefield ETB effect that gives all creatures you control double strike until end of turn. This card can truly be a game ender. Just want to make dragons? Then Skyline Despot is your go-to card. Not only do you become the monarch when this card ETBs, but if you can stay that way, you get to make a 5/5 dragon at the beginning of your upkeep for as long as you wear the crown. Anger in the graveyard gives all your beasties haste, while Spit Flame deals 4 damage to any target that you can cast over and over again every time a dragon ETBs under your control. A seemingly odd inclusion is the Neverwinter Hydra. For XX and 2 green, you can plop down a chunky non-dragon with trample and ward 4. However, it plays into the rolling dice mechanic on Vrondus by stating that you roll a number of d6 equal to the value of X in the casting cost, and this multi-headed monstrosity gets +1/+1 counters equal to the total of those rolls. So it could just be the biggest thing on the board and a terror for your opponents to have to deal with ASAP, or it could have haste and you could just smoosh someone on the spot. Some great reprints in the deck are Gratuitous Violence and Warstorm Surge for some extra damage from your big creatures, Outpost Siege for some card advantage or to enable your commander's ability to make dragon spirits, Dragonlord Servant and Dragon Speaker Shaman to enable the casting of dragons for less, always handy, Dragon Master Outcast to just make more dragons in your upkeep, and what dragon deck would be complete without the awesomeness of Ataka World Render? 6/4 flying trample and attacking dragons have double strike. Not too shabby. Let's get back to what ticks in this deck. The rolling dice thing does not, in my opinion. Even though it's a cool mechanic to have built into your commander, there really doesn't seem to be enough payoff for it in the deck out of the box. There are only 9 cards that enable dice rolling in the deck, and although they do provide for some great random shenanigans like Chaos Dragon and Maddening Hex, I don't feel that there are enough cards to make this a viable strategy to engage the wrath of Vrondus to make dragon spirits. Having said that, let's break down the deck statistics. Dice rolling enablers, 10. Enrage enablers, this would include the dice rolling enablers, 15, including 2 that would wipe your dragon spirits clean off the board and put your commander back in the command zone. Ramp, 8, card draw, 8. Removal, not including EDB effects of a number of dragons that simply kill things as they flap on in, 5. Dragons, 18. The deck seems to be fairly well balanced overall. However, I do think that it lacks the impetus needed to make either the enrage mechanic or the dice rolling enrage enabler mechanic work efficiently. That is not to say that the deck is not fun to play out of the box, because dropping big dragon type things on opponents is always fun, but I do think there should be a solid focus on a particular direction should you wish to upgrade this deck and make it a bit more challenging for your opponents. With that in mind, I picked straight up enrage and haste, because why not have really big things that can swing right away? I brought in the following cards as haste enablers: Mass Hysteria and Fires of Yavimaya. I also wanted to add to the deck's ability to ping my commander to make those 5/4 walking dead dragons. So I brought in Ether Flash, Akuum Hellkite, Spike Shot Elder, and the Staff of Nin. There are many other cards out there that can enhance the deck's ability to enable enrage, but we had a budget of 350 Rand sponsored by the amazing Top Deck, so I had to work within that allotment. I also thought since some of the enrage enablers in the deck may kill my commander or some other big nasty I didn't want dead, I had to build in ways to recur them. So I added Serpent Skin, Jolrael's Favor, both of which can be played at instant speed, and Fortitude, to help keep whichever creature I needed most at the time on the board. I also thought a little more ramp and card draw would be useful, so I included Seer Sundial, Tireless Provisioner, and Yavimaya Elder. These are the cards I dropped in favor of these changes: Chameleon Colossus, Druid of Putrefaction, Vengeful Ancestor, Wolfgar of Icewind Dale, Earth Cult Elemental, Savage Ventmore, Ryle, Wild Endeavor, Decree of Savagery, Sword of Hours, Heirloom Blade, and Indomitable Might. At the end of the day, it's all about what you want to get out of this deck and the lines of strategy you want to follow to have the most fun with it. So these are just my thoughts, and I plan to optimize the deck even further in the coming weeks to really put the big flappy scare on my opponents. Until next time, I'll see you on the battlefield.